Since 1892, Hamilton has defined the perfect balance of craftsmanship and innovation, where American spirit meets Swiss precision. In 2025, the brand continues to impress with timepieces that blend vintage soul and modern style. Here's a look at the top 5 Hamilton watches for men that embody timeless design, rugged reliability, and refined sophistication. Let's start by looking at the case. Just like the original W10, the Pilot Pioneer has a tonneau and cushion shade case with a brushed finish. The brushing keeps the watch looking toolish, but it also looks more refined than the bead blasting seen on the Khaki Field Mechanical. The size of the case is a modest 36 mm, with a lug-to-lug of 41 mm and a thickness of 10 mm. This is pretty much the same size as the original Hamilton W10, and I'm glad to see Hamilton resisted the urge to upscale the watch for a modern audience. I find that the watch wears pretty true to these dimensions as well. However, it's the dial that really demonstrates just how much of a step up the Pilot Pioneer is over the KFM. Whilst the dial of the KFM is flat and functional, the dial of the Pilot Pioneer is packed with different finishes that draw the eye from one spot to another. For starters, the dial itself has a sandpaper-like finish to it. It's subtle, but it imparts just enough texture to prevent the dial from being dull. Just like the Khaki Field Mechanical, the Pilot Pioneer uses Hamilton's H50 movement. It's essentially a modified ETA 2801-2, and it has 17 joules, a 3 Hz beat rate, and an impressive 80-hour power reserve. In conclusion, the Hamilton Khaki Aviation Pilot Pioneer Mechanical is a fitting tribute to the brand's heritage in aviation timekeeping. Of all the watches I have, none of them are versatile enough to move between almost every situation I encounter. From a short day hike to a nice date night, my watches to date have either tended to look too rugged or too delicate, none striking the right balance. And since I have been wanting to simplify my watches overall, these Hamiltons stood out to me as the perfect field watch to move easily between most of the scenarios I encounter regularly. The watch features a self-winding, with manual wind option movement, which I have found to be not the most precise movement I've used. With 100 meters of water resistance, this watch will be fine for almost everything, which is not actively being in water. Lastly, the lume painted on the hands and indices is nice. It's subtle enough that it is never too bright, but bright enough in the wee hours of the morning that you can still read the watch. If you come into a very dark room after being outside in sun, it won't be bright enough for you right away, but that's a pretty niche use case. For me, this is the one watch I'll wear the most, and I absolutely love it. It's something I highly recommend and think it offers a fantastic value for the price. It's one of the most versatile watches I've owned, and I have yet to not love looking at it on my wrist. The Hamilton Khaki Navy Scuba Auto in blue is a 43mm stainless steel dive watch with a sapphire crystal and ceramic bezel insert. It is indeed an archetypal dive watch. The case and the bracelet have rather Rolex Submariner-esque styling, as so many divers do. It is the dial where things get a little different. A combination of applied indices and painted 24-hour numerals give a slight diver and field hybrid vibe, especially in this blue color, which I tend to associate more with field watches than divers. Rest assured, with a 300 meters water resistance rating, this is a pure dive watch. The dial has a grainy texture to it that adds visual interest. The Hamilton H10 caliber powers the Scuba. This is Hamilton's version of the Swatch Group's 80-hour power reserve calibers based on the original ETA 2824. The 43mm case is fully brushed. It measures 12.58 mm thick and 52 mm from tip to tip, with a lug spacing of 22 mm. Upon handling the watch, its weight of 213 grams immediately jumps out. The end links seem like they are of the female styled, but looks can be deceiving. They have only a tiny range of articulation, extending the overall length to 57 mm before the first fully articulating link. In short, then the Hamilton Navy Scuba Auto 43mm is a sizable watch. This is a serious chunk of steel that requires a substantial wrist. The Murph watch in 38mm is expertly crafted and is not simply a shrunk-down version of the 42mm. After spending some time with it, it's quite obvious that Hamilton obsessed over the proportions of this watch. It was not simply scaled down to meet demand. Meticulous attention was given to overall proportions of the case size, lugs, dial room, and even various parts like the crown, which has maintained a nice chunky size, despite the overall size of the watch. The watch not only looks the part, but it fits and sits very elegantly on wrist, with zero lug overhang due to the tapered and curved lugs being crafted so well. The watch is also very slim, adding to its comfort and general visual appeal. The only feature that changed from the 42mm Murph watch to this now 38mm version is the Morse code markings on the seconds hand, which have now been removed, and I find this smaller variant to be more pleasing personally, and it's more accurate to the actual film prop used in the interstellar film. The 38mm Murph watch even retains the same H10 movement from its larger brother, which is a modified ETA, and it still sports the generous 80-hour power reserve. That's a lot of ticking time for a small 38mm field watch. Overall, I think Hamilton aced this release in every aspect. This is a huge contender in the affordable or entry-level mechanical watch market. The Khaki Field Mechanical is on the smaller side, at least for a modern watch, at 38mm. The original mil-spec timepieces of the 60s were a mere 34mm, a size that was relegated to women's watches for a time, but is making a comeback of late. The bump in size is understandable, and at least Hamilton kept the matte finish case super thin at 9.5mm, which, more than anything, gives the watch its vintage feel. Too often, reshoes have been needlessly bloated reinterpretations of their forebearers. If you do want a needlessly bloated reinterpretation of the Khaki Field, however, Hamilton also offers it in 42mm. Inside the watch, you'll find a hand-winding movement. While the first generation of Khaki Field mechanical watches used an ETA 2804-2, the current second generation has an updated movement, as does nearly every brand in the Swatch Group using movements from its sister supplier ETA. Dubbed the H50, this is an evolution of generation of movements that included the 2804, and it features a range of upgrades including most notably an extended power reserve of 80 hours. In conclusion, the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical is a robust and straightforward timepiece that pays homage to military watch aesthetics. With a durable case, a practical and legible dial design, and a manual winding movement, this watch is an excellent choice for enthusiasts who appreciate a no-frills approach to timekeeping.